All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to become architects, but we're not building houses. No, we are designing something far more personal, our very own system for peak productivity. And where are we getting the plans? From five of the most legendary books ever written on the subject. So, consider this your masterclass. Let's get to work.
Does this sound familiar? You're busy all day long, your to-do list just seems to get longer, and at the end of it all, you kind of collapse and think, what did I actually do today? You are not alone. It feels like we're drowning in productivity hacks and advice, but today we're going to cut through all that noise and find the real signal.
So here's our game plan. We're going to approach this just like building a structure from the ground up. First, we'll need our architects. Then we'll pour a solid foundation by figuring out our why. After that, we build the system to handle chaos and create focus. Then we install the engine with automatic habits. And finally, we'll bring in a catalyst to challenge everything we've built. Stick with me, and by the end, you'll have your very own blueprint. Okay, first up, let's meet the team. And look, these aren't just authors. Think of them as the master architects, the titans who gave us these powerful, time-tested blueprints for building not just a more productive life, but a more meaningful one too.
Now, what's so cool about these five books is how different they all are, but also how perfectly they fit together. You've got Covey, who's all about the big picture vision. Then there's David Allen, who's totally focused on ground-level organization. You have Cal Newport for intense focus, James Clear for the tiny habits that make it all run, and then Tim Ferriss, who just comes in and questions the whole game. We're going to assemble all these pieces into one powerhouse framework.
Every great building needs an unshakable foundation, right? So before we even think about apps or to-do lists or any of that stuff, we have to know why. Why are we even doing any of this? And for that, there's no one better to turn to than the legend himself, Stephen Covey. This right here is absolutely crucial. It's so easy to get lost in the day-to-day grind, just putting out fires. Covey says, hold on. Before you start climbing the ladder, make sure it's leaning against the right wall. What do you want your life to be about? What really matters to you? That vision, that personal mission statement, that's the bedrock. Everything else gets built on top of it. So, with our foundation firmly in place, it's time to put up the walls. How do you deal with the absolute flood of emails, tasks, and ideas that hit you every single day, while also making sure you carve out time for the stuff that actually matters? Well, for this, we need a two-person crew. David Allen to manage the chaos, and Cal Newport to bring the focus. David Allen's Getting Things Done, or GTD. Man, this system is legendary for a reason. The absolute magic of it is simple. Get every single thing that's rattling around in your head out and into a trusted system. By following these 5 steps, capture, clarify, organize, reflect, engage, you stop using your brain as a storage unit. You free it up to do what it does best, having great ideas.
So what do you do with all that new mental real estate that GTD just cleared up for you? Well, that's where you perform deep work. Cal Newport makes the case that in today's distracted world, the ability to focus without interruption is a genuine superpower. This is where you solve the hard problems. This is where you create things that have real value.
And this just lays it out perfectly. We all know what shallow work feels like, right? It's answering emails, it's boring meetings, it's logistical stuff. It keeps the lights on, but it's not going to change the game. Deep work, that's the stuff that's hard. It's cognitively demanding, but it's also what moves the needle on those big goals we set back when we were talking about Covey. It all connects. Okay, so we have a foundation, our why. We have a system to manage chaos and focus, but what actually powers this thing every single day? Let's be honest, motivation is great, but it's flaky. Habits, on the other hand, are reliable. And this is where our next architect, James Clear, comes in to install the engine. I absolutely love this chart. It's probably one of the most powerful ideas out there. Just look at those numbers. Getting just 1% better each day doesn't feel like much, but over a year, you end up almost 38 times better. It's mind-blowing. Your success isn't about some massive overnight change. It's about the tiny automatic habits you do every single day. Okay, you're thinking, but how do I build those habits? Well, James Clear gives us this incredibly simple, practical framework. For any good habit you want to build, like, say, scheduling that deep work, you just have to make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. It's basically a user manual for engineering your own behavior. It's brilliant. So we've got our foundation, we've got our system, we've got our engine running smoothly. Our building is looking pretty good. But now it's time to bring in the disruptor. Tim Ferriss is our catalyst.
He's the one who walks in, looks at everything we've built, and asks a really radical question. Are you sure you need to do all this? 4. That's it. Just one number. But this one number completely changed the conversation about work. Now, look, the point isn't that everyone should or even can work a literal 4-hour week. The real revolutionary idea is to stop trading your time for money. It's to focus ruthlessly on your output, not the effort you put in. And this is his secret weapon, the 80-20 principle. The idea that for almost anything, 80% of your results will come from just 20% of your actions. So Ferriss forces you to step back and analyze everything you're doing. The goal isn't just to be more efficient. The goal is to identify that critical 20% and, well, eliminate the rest. All right, we've met the whole crew, we've seen their individual plans, now it's time for the grand finale. Let's unroll the master blueprint and see how all of these brilliant ideas lock together into one single powerful system you can actually use. And here it is. It's so elegant. You start at the top with Covey, defining your North Star. Then Alan comes in from the bottom up, giving you a system to handle the day-to-day reality. Newport tells you what to focus on inside that system, the deep work. Clear gives you the tiny automatic habits to make sure it actually happens. And all the while, Ferriss acts as a constant filter, forcing you to ask, is this part of the critical 20% or can I just get rid of it? You know, the really beautiful thing about this blueprint is that you don't have to build the whole skyscraper tomorrow. You can just start by laying a single brick. So the real question isn't whether this system can work for you. The only question is, where will you start? Will you take some time to define your why with Covey? Or will you finally tame your chaotic inbox with David Allen? Maybe you'll just schedule 1 hour of deep work. The blueprint is yours. Now go build something.